Hello everyone and welcome to Galome Elevation Talks. My name is Bimelo Siemule, also known as your favorite Galome. I hope you guys enjoyed that special episode from last week. And in this week's episode, I will be interviewing Suubi Nambwayo. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. Suubi Nambwayo, who is an entrepreneur living in San Francisco, who is passionate about technology, who is very vibrant, she is just very amazing and such a ball of energy to talk to. So I hope you guys enjoy this conversation as she talks about asking and the importance of why you should be asking questions, whether you're asking for opportunities or whether you're asking out of curiosity. I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope that by the end of this conversation, you'll be ready to ask those questions you've been meaning to ask.
Hi, my name is Suubi Nambwayo and I am from Uganda. I'm going to talk about the importance of ask. What is your ask? Are you asking for help? Are you asking for the way? Are you asking for opportunity? Are you asking for advice? Are you asking just out of curiosity? Just ask away because you never know what will come out of it. I'll tell you a few stories on what I've learned from asking. Recently, during the COVID crisis, for those of you who live in San Francisco, you know it has been a ghost town. Like, everybody is leaving San Francisco because it has such a high standard of living, so they are going to move to more affordable cities. Unfortunately, some people have lost their jobs, but then others, there's this whole extended indefinite work from home. So they've been pushed, if I can work from anywhere, I can work from a more affordable city where I have more space and things like that. So they've moved. And so from in March and April and May, we've just been seeing a mass exodus of people just leaving, selling their things, moving, leaving. To the point in my building, I think we were only 2 people left on my floor. Echoes. You open the door and you hear echoes. That's how bad it was. So with all that happening, for the first time ever, there were discounts in San Francisco housing. Discounts. This market is pretty hot. It was hot. When I moved here in 2017, the market was hot. I couldn't find a house. It took me a month to find an apartment. You call, and after 5 minutes, if you miss the showing, by 10 minutes, you can get there and the house is taken. That's how hot the market was. But now they were offering 2 months free rent. Hey, 2 months free rent in San Francisco. I said, Lord, I see what you do for others. I see, please do for me too. I want that 2 months free rent. Where can I get it? So I talked to my roommate, we discussed. She said, let's go talk to the leasing office. So in late May, I go to the leasing office. I ask them, I'm like, these are hard times, it's COVID. Lots of places are offering people 2 months free rent if you move in. What do you have to offer? This is what they told me. She said, right now, we're not offering anything at this time, and we don't anticipate or we don't see that in the near future unless you've experienced any kind of economic hardship. Maybe we can put a hold and allow you to stay, but once you become more financially stable, you'd have to still pay your rent. Yeah, but for now, we don't see any discounts happening now or in the near future. Okay, I said, okay, Subi, it's okay, I put my tail between my legs, stood up. I said, thank you, but let me know if anything changes because, I'm really considering moving. She said, yeah, we'll definitely let you know, but, kind of telling me that don't hold your breath. I said, I came back to my roommate. I told her the news. She was like, oh man, that's sad, but okay, let's move. So The next day, not the next week, I met a lady on Lunch Club who works in real estate. She works in commercial real estate. So I told her my story. I was like, what do you think about the housing crisis in San Francisco? Like, what do you think is, and I told her with my apartment building. And then she told me, you know what, Subi, give it 6 weeks. After 6 weeks, go back to them with an offer, with 3 offers from other places, and show them the discounts you're getting from there and threaten to leave. I said, oh, say no more. What else do we have to do in COVID? Cook and be patient and stay at home. So that's what I did. I stayed at home. July comes. Guess who's in the leasing office? Your girl, Subi. I ran to the leasing office. I'm like, okay, now I had my offers, I had done my research, I had everything ready. So only to go to the office, they're no longer accepting in-person meetings. So I had to call. Fortunately, I called and it was the same person who I talked to in May. So I told her, I was like, yeah, as we had discussed in May, you know, I'm thinking of moving because there are good offers out there. And if you're not offering your loyal residents anything, I may have to leave. And then she said, oh, you know what? We're actually offering our residents temporary rent reductions. I said, oh, where is the email that you sent all residents this? If I had not asked her for the second time, they would not have told me that there's a discount. Second of all, if I had not asked the person in real estate for some advice, I would not have known to go back with guns blazing behind. Third of all, if I had not Googled, I would not have seen that other people are also negotiating for their rent. So as soon as she said that, I put on my negotiating shoes. I put on my glasses too, and I said, let's do this. I sent an email with all my reasons. And then that's how I negotiated my rent in COVID. I'll give you another example. So, like for that, it's just shown me there's this saying in the Bible that says, ask and you will receive. It is so true. Ask your friends, ask your family, ask your boss, ask your managers, ask anyone, and you will receive. You can receive a no, but a little no has never hurt anyone. Opportunity knocks once, but it works for those who ask. If you don't ask who's there, you just might miss that opportunity. Let me tell you about the times I missed my opportunities, the times when I didn't ask, you know? Because when you ask, people can plan for you ahead of time. But sometimes if you are a last minute person or you get stuck in your head, I'm not perfect. I get stuck in my head and I have full-blown conversations with myself and my imaginary counterpart, the person I'm supposed to ask something. I'll have a full-blown imaginary conversation and it will go really well or really bad. Really bad. And most of the times it's, really bad because you always think of the worst. And so somehow you have to bring yourself back to think of the best, So I went to school for undergrad in Cincinnati, Ohio in the US. And they had these programs where you could do study abroad. So I really wanted to study abroad, but the programs was for short weeks, like 2.5 weeks, 10-day programs, 2-week programs. Those are the ones I was interested in, and they were very expensive. So in my head, I said, how can I study abroad and ask my parents to sponsor me to study abroad when I'm already studying abroad for this price? So I had the conversation in my head. I said, it's not justifiable. There's no way they could even, they'll ask me why. I've already come abroad. I'm experiencing new things, new culture, new education, new everything, new education system. Now again, I want to change again and study abroad from abroad. So I said no. So I went home for holidays and I hypothetically asked, what if I could do study abroad? Would you sponsor me? Would you be able to support me if I wanted to study abroad in France or in Ireland? Would you be willing to pay for this amount of days for this price? They said, oh, of course we would. That would give you different kind of exposure to different kind of people, different kind of education system, and you can learn a lot about this. They were giving me the benefits of study abroad, the ones that I should have pitched when I should have asked. But guess what? I was afraid. I was afraid to ask, and I had the conversation in my head. So they just told me, all you have to do is to tell us in advance so we can plan for it. If you tell us in advance and we can plan for it, then We can work it out, We'll look for the money. And I said, hey, see how I trapped myself and I missed an opportunity. I mean, I've had a great opportunity here. That's not a lie, but sometimes you hold yourself back in the other person might even be more understanding than you are. I'll give you another examples. Yes, I'm full of stories. A few months ago, I did a summer internship. If you're in college and you get a summer internship that pays, that's good. Because the student struggle when you don't have an income. Oh my God. So I had an internship. It was good. I had a good project going on. And in my heart of hearts, I wanted to continue and work into the fall because I had seen my fall schedule and the way the free sessions were set up, I could spare some 20 hours a week to work. But I was so scared to ask. I was scared to ask them, like, when I've just started my internship, a month and a half, and all of a sudden I already want to work again in the fall. Like what? I couldn't get the courage to ask. So I waited until like 2 weeks before my internship ended, and then I wrote an email. I was like, yeah, I've really enjoyed this. And then by that time, of course, by the end of the internship, you've got the hang of everything. You now know how everything works. The project has become even more exciting. Everything has become good. You're comfortable. And I was like, oh my God, I would actually love to stay, not just for the money, but also for the project and the work. So yeah, I said, let me shoot my shot. But I was a little too late because my manager told me that I would have loved to keep you, but we've already submitted our budget for the fall. Maybe you can check back again in the winter, but for now, we've already submitted our budget. And when I talked to my other intern friends, because as interns, you make friends, those who had requested early, they got signed in for the fall. But me, who was afraid to ask, I missed my opportunity. There we have it. So, like what I learned from that is, when you feel it and it's something that will benefit you, just ask in good time. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Ask. The worst somebody can say is no. And then you go back and sit. The last example I'll give is not my own personal story, but somebody told me this story. It's a story of an African-based entrepreneur who was working in health tech. And sometimes there's these entrepreneurship conferences where you can come and show your product, display your product to investors, and you can find investment, co-founders, different partners, things like that. So in health tech, things are a bit different than any other business because it's capital intensive. So this entrepreneur had a very great product, an amazing product, and an investor in health tech went to their table. And, they spoke to them and said, tell me about your product. Investor loves it, loves the enthusiasm of the entrepreneur, loves everything. It's like, okay, good. Yeah, tell me more. And at the end, the investor asks, how much money do you need for this? How much money are you looking for? And the entrepreneur responds, a sum of money, let me say something equivalent to like $20,000. And for something that's so capital intensive that you would need maybe to ask for $650,000 or $1 million, the entrepreneur did not prepare for that question. They're here looking for money, but they don't know how much they want. They don't know what their ask is, So the investor told the entrepreneur, come back when you know how much money you need. Do you see? So asking is important. But you must also, if you're asking purposefully, you need to prepare. You need to know what you need from this person, or even if you don't know what you need, sometimes you don't know what you need, but you need to be able to explain your challenge in a way that the other person can help you. So if someone asks, how can I help? You can say, I don't know, but I'm having this challenge A, challenge B, and challenge C. How do you think you can help? These are the challenges that I need to be solved. If you're asking for money, know a ballpark of how much you need, especially if you're an entrepreneur. So let me leave you with this. Asking questions is important. And even if you don't know what you really want, for goodness sake, get that question out and ask.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi. Thank you
Listen,
for having me.
thank you for coming. You were highly recommended by someone else, by Kiboni, who I will also interview at some point.
Really?
By fire, by force, by thunder. She said you gotta get Subi on there.
And here we are.
And here we are. So thank you so much for making time. I know you are a booked and busy entrepreneur, doing your thing.
Yeah, hustle. We have to hustle.
But to start off, let's just talk a little bit about you. So,
Yeah.
who's Subi? Who is Subi? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Ooh, a little bit about myself. What do you want? Personal, business, a mix of both?
Listen, the whole shebang, mix masala. Put it all inside.
In my language, we call it katogo.
We want Katogo.
Well, I'm Suubi Nambwayo, and I'm from Uganda. Right now, I'm based in San Francisco. I came here for my master's at Hult International Business School. I graduated last year, actually in March. Right now, I work in venture capital, and I'm also involved in 2 startups. One is Sugar and Space, where I'm in charge of strategy and partnerships. And then the other is Mwaba, where I'm a co-founder. We help prepare African-based entrepreneurs for growth and investment. I'm passionate about entrepreneurship, investment, and the whole startup the whole entrepreneurship ecosystem. I like that. I could talk about that all day, but I also love to travel and to try things, try new food. So that's a lot of me, and talking to people. So this for me is therapy.
I know, planning this call. I remember we were supposed to do a 20-minute call. It ended up being an hour of us just talking about everything, walking in the bushes, like.
Yeah, because I can talk to anyone about anything, and I like learning about what people are doing.
So let me ask you a question. As an entrepreneur, do you think, is it true that thing is actually inborn, or did you figure out at some point, like have an epiphany or a moment that struck you where you were like, oh, I actually do like this?
Sorry, are you cut off a bit there? As an what? As an entrepreneur, or?
Yeah, as an entrepreneur, did you ever have a moment where you said, you know what? This is for me, or was it kind of like from the get-go, you knew this is what I want to get into? I want to be in this entrepreneurial space.
First of all, I could say in my childhood, I wanted to be an innovator. I wanted to be a scientist, but that's all that I knew. But at the heart of it all, I wanted to invent something, to come up with something. So I feel like I've always known I wanted to be an innovator, not necessarily an entrepreneur. When I started learning about business is when I said, you know what? I don't have to be a scientist to be an innovator. I can be an entrepreneur, a business person, and still innovate. So I think that's where the history, with me personally, that's where it comes from. Passion for innovation is what drives me towards entrepreneurship.
Okay. That makes sense, because I kind of don't think I have that entrepreneurial spirit. Like, I don't. Maybe I do.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
I think you're on the road to it. You're on the road to it. You just have to find a way to monetize. And boom.
Then as we go forward, we go. So, during your talk, I love how you talked about how you were afraid to ask your parents, African parents, and my parents are probably watching this too.
Yeah.
Hi. Hi. But how you were afraid to ask your parents about studying abroad. But once you asked them, they were just all for it. Like they were like, oh yeah, we are down to help you with that. And I think that's something that a lot of us go through, where fear holds us back from actually achieving our dreams, achieving our goals, trying out new things, because we're scared of what will happen if we get rejected.
Exactly. The fear of rejection. It's real. It's real. Yeah.
And we'll actually touch up more on rejection a little bit in depth in this conversation, because I think with asking, we need to have an open mind on the possibility of rejection. You're not always going to get accepted. So we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay.
Now, this is more of a fun question.
Yeah.
If you could ask for anything right now, Subi, right now, what would it be?
You put me in a hard spot.
Hey, you don't know who's listening right now. Maybe the person that's listening right now is the person that's going to give you that thing.
If I could ask for anything right now, there's so many things I want.
Okay, let's say top 2 things. Top 2 or 3. Top 2 or 3.
Top 2 or 3 things that I want.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, the first thing is something that I can't control. And I want to be home for Christmas. But I can't control that with COVID and everything going on right now. So that's the first one. The second one, I need a raise. But I can control that.
Don't we all know? Don't we all need a raise?
And I'm going to work towards it. So that I can control. And then the third thing that I need, I actually right now I'm looking for in the company Sugar and Space. We're looking for people who can be super hosts. So
What
people
is super host? Please, maybe this is where I'm supposed to be getting my job. Maybe this is where I'm supposed to come on.
Maybe this is the calling.
Come on.
So we're looking for super hosts. We host multisensory experiences. So things like tasting and pairing, eating without eyes.
Tasting what? Wine?
Tasting and pairing wine. Look at it. With food design, innovation, and technology. So we focus on multisensory experiences, and we're looking for people who can host, push the services we provide. And
you cut a little bit there from we're looking for people who can host.
Yeah, we're looking for people who can host these experiences on our behalf, almost like an agency kind of thing. So we'll train the super hosts, we'll teach you what to say, teach you what to do, tell you about multisensory experiences. You can start by hosting these for your friends and family, and then gradually make this like an income generating thing. So that's one thing that I'm looking for. I'm looking for people who are passionate about food and love to host. And even if you don't love to host, but you like to, try new things, this weekend I'm going to host one for my friends. And the theme is let's talk about death over dinner. Yes. Let's talk about death over dinner.
I'll be crying. I'd be crying there.
No, you should be crying there because I feel like death is such a taboo topic. Nobody wants to talk about it. Even when no one wants to talk about it. So,
side note, the other day I was talking to my dad and my mom, and there's a girl that recently passed away, and just seeing the sadness in her mom's eyes, so I at the funeral, because they were live streaming it. So on the phone with my parents a few hours after I'd watched the funeral, I was like, guys, I hope like I outlive you so that you don't have to go through that. My father says, do you hear what this child is saying?
What are you talking about death?
Yeah, it's like, why do you want to kill us?
Exactly. That is the culture. That's the culture everywhere. And so it's a hard conversation to have, but maybe have it earlier beforehand. We'll be a bit more prepared when it happens. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know what's going to transpire from the conversation, but it will be an interesting one.
I'd like to hear more about this once you host this session. I'd
Yeah.
love to. We definitely need to connect and talk more about this. And maybe I'll have you back here to tell us take notes about the death in dinner. Let us know. So going back to the topic at hand today, and this seems like something that we should all know, we should all be knowledgeable of.
Yeah.
What do you think is a necessity when asking? You know, how do I properly ask for something?
Let me tell you one thing. As somebody who's always asking questions, there's no proper way to ask. Just ask. Even if your question comes off as you feel maybe it will come off as ignorant, so be it. There's no right way to ask a question. As long as you ask, that's good. But I would say asking purposefully. If I know I want something from Tumelo, I know Tumelo does A, B, C, D. I want D. I don't want A, B, C. I want D. Go straight to the point and ask for D.
Yeah.
Not beat about the bush. You can beat about the bush to lead into the conversation because you want to be gradual with it. But at the end of the day, know what you want. And when I'm talking to Tumelo and I want D, I need to leave when I've got D. Or I've got an answer, yes or no, about D. Not A, B, C. No. Just D or E. If I want E, let me get E. So go with intention if you know what you want.
That's actually quite good. Go knowing what you want. Go into the situation knowing what you want and just ask for it. Because I think a lot of the times we think, you know, it can come off as being rude or wanting to use somebody if you come into a situation and you ask straightforward, hey Subi, I want you to be on my channel, without doing the, oh hi, how are you? How are the children? How's grandma? You know, without doing that. Sometimes I feel like a lot of us are afraid to just ask the question when in actual fact, that could be exactly what we need to do. And it would save all of us, you and the people that you're asking or the company that you're asking, a whole lot more time.
Yeah, it will save a whole lot more time and jargon. I mean, I'm not saying be cold. You can ask if, you know, it rained at home. But that you must leave the conversation when you've asked for what you want. Yeah.
I love that. And you know, in your talk, you said time waits for no man.
Yeah.
Time waits for no man. So have there been times for you where, you know, you've missed that train of opportunity and you go back and say, gong, 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 I'm back. I'm back to try again, where maybe even you've gotten a no and you've went back to knock on the door until, you know, the door was open or the opportunity was given to you. Do you have any stories or instances that have happened to you like that?
It was not really an opportunity like that. Yeah, I can't think of one where I went back. I'm now thinking, but I can tell you of a time when I answered a question with a question.
Okay.
And it's the one that helped me like win an award.
Oh, wait, tell us about that. Tell us about that. Because the other day I was talking to somebody and they said, you need to stop asking a question with a question. Look at you winning awards out here, girl. Tell us about that.
I didn't find out until much later that this is what made, okay, maybe it's not what made me win, but it made me stand out. Yeah. So it was an award that's given in honor of someone. And this person was very philanthropic, very involved in the community. And the question in the interview was how can you compare yourself to this person? Like, you know, how do you see yourself in this person? And then I said, hey, that is a tough question. So I answered them with a question. I said, how can I compare myself to someone who was great as this?
Who was this person? Who was this person that does not have a name?
Okay, it was Antonio Johnson. He was a student who died young, but he was very passionate. He was very passionate about the Black community and very active, very philanthropic, always doing something for the community. And the scholarship was for people of color who have been active in the
And
community.
this was at your previous university, right?
Yeah, my undergrad. They asked that question, like, how do you compare yourself to, Antonio Johnson? So most people would basically say, yeah, I'm humble, I'm this, I'm that. But I could not see how I could compare myself to someone like that. I was like, I'm just trying to be philanthropic. I'm trying to be as active as I can, but I don't think I can match that. So I asked them
that energy
that I can compare myself to this person. And so years later, it's one of the panelists who told me that, the time you answered, that stood out for me because you asked us a question back, like, how can I compare myself to this person? Yeah. So
it made you stand out. I love that.
I'm still going to once I can think of a time when I went back and got what I wanted, I'll let you know.
Yes, please do. Please do.
I missed it and I came back, I'll let you know.
Okay, so now getting to the point of rejection. Yo, girl, I hate rejection. I don't think anybody loves rejection.
No.
But I personally, if I reject you, I remember when I was applying to universities in 2017.
Yeah.
All the universities that I rejected, I blocked on social media. As if that would have hurt them. As if they even knew my name.
You just get them doom. Doom
that negativity. So with asking comes the possibility of rejection. It's inevitable that you might get rejected. So how have you dealt with some of the moments where you've been rejected in your life, whether it's a job opportunity, whether it's a relationship wise? Is there a coping mechanism for that you use?
Actually, I allow myself to feel the rejection. That's one thing I will say. Like, if I've been rejected, yes, I get sad and I go through it. And I allow, like, okay, I say, oh man, I've not got this job. That's so sad. I try and look back and I see what I could have done. And I also reach out. Like, for example, I'll give you an example for that. One of the jobs I applied to last year, I went into the final round. And you know how analytics jobs are. It's like a month of interviews, homework. It's hard work. You feel like you've put your heart into it. And the hiring manager loved me. Everything was great. We had a good rapport. But somehow at the end, I didn't make the cut. I was so sad. Then I went back and I emailed, I sent him a message on LinkedIn. I added him. I said, you know what? We had a good rapport. Like, I know maybe I didn't make the cut. Maybe there was someone better than me. That's fine. But I want to connect with you and keep in touch with you. And he said the same thing. He said, oh my God, thank you so much for reaching out. We had a good connection. I'm sorry it didn't work out, but yes, I'll add you on LinkedIn, everything. So now I went through it. I went through my feelings. I moved on. I got the job I have now. Life has moved on. During COVID, doesn't somebody come creeping back onto my LinkedIn from that same company? Looking for me.
Come! What are you doing? Look at God. Hey! Wow.
Oh, after rejecting me last year, you're looking for me. Yeah. But you see, I still left on a good note. I didn't think, okay, you guys, you know what? it's whatever. I can work for someone else. I said, you know what, let's connect. I felt like this didn't work out. Never know what will hold in the future.
Exactly. And you never know when they might need you.
They reached
And
out
that's the thing.
to
Go
me
on.
again this year. So I was just like, wait, what?
Then what happened?
Well, it's still in the process, but they reached out
Okay.
and they're just asking, like, are you open to opportunities? I mean, right now I'm working and I have a job and I'm settled, but they reached out to me. I don't think they would have reached out to me if I had just cold, like if I had gone cold on them.
If you hadn't done that aftermath of connecting and sending that message, you
Yes.
wouldn't have. That was kind of in a way you asking, like in future, if you have
Yes.
any positions,
Please.
coming back to the conversation. I love that. I love that. And sometimes when your light is so bright and people can see the work that you're capable of achieving, there's nothing that can stop that. It might be a temporary, where God is trying to say, let me lead you in this direction and teach you a few things or let you experience this. But if the opportunity is meant to come back, baby, they're going to be sending you messages on LinkedIn all over again.
I definitely believe that it will come back, and the rejection happens for a reason. There's times I've gone through rejection and I don't regret. I don't regret the fact that I got rejected because, there's something else happened that if I had not been rejected, I would have done this,
Yeah.
So I've had moments like that and you can't take those back.
I love that. I love how you deal with rejection. Hopefully I'll get to that stage where I can deal with rejection like that. Because I have issues. And on that note, we are quickly gonna go for an ad break. So everybody grab your water, grab your coffee, grab your wine. I hope my father's grabbing his wine right now. He hates it when I talk about wine. He hates it when I talk about wine, but I hope he's grabbing his wine right now. And
we will grab their gin.
And we will be right back after this short ad break.
All right. Hello, hi. I am taking over Sugar and Space today. I'm currently in Palm Springs and I'm hosting a Sugar and Space experience for my friends. Super excited, my first one. We're going to do a tasting and pairing, and we'll also do eating without ice. Who's ready for some fun? Yeah, you can also do this too at home. We encourage you to try this at home. Holla, holla, holla. All right, I'm just going in. Hello, Palm Springs. Are you guys ready for this takeover? Yeah. It's Subi. See you on the other side. It's always good to have an assistant. Makes the experience a team effort. Have some thought-provoking discussions with your friends, your family, with what's going on around the world. I feel like everyone needs to talk about these things, and this can be like a good way to start. Yeah. So I'm just going to play for you like a 5-minute clip as I get ready. Don't get anxious.
Can you see?
Yes.
No, I cannot.
This is a little weird.
Are you anxious?
I mean,
Yeah.
I am.
I am.
Baby, you okay?
I'm just afraid I might pass out.
Just.
So you can reach out to your plates now.
I'm listening to Uwe by Dundee. A
Yes.
song about hustling 7 days
I've
a
put
week.
something on the plate.
Furthermore, Drake's
This is a great.
Is it?
music so smooth.
Shall we
You can scratch and sniff it if that helps. It doesn't help.
It's the same
Oh,
thing.
wait. It's a red one. I have red. Yeah.
Oh, no, this is a grip.
All right, take a bite.
Hello, everybody, and thank you again for joining us as I interview Subi on the importance of asking. As you've heard her, it's very important that you ask for what you want and what you need, because you never know when the opportunity is going to arise that you're going to get a yes or a hell yes or a no or a no. So thank you for tuning in for this second part of this conversation. Now, Subi, another thing that comes with asking is the possibility of being taken advantage of. Sometimes we are quite desperate when we ask for things, or we're in desperate situations where we need things, and people are able to see and read into our minds to see that, this one is desperate. So I can use them as much as I want, or I can take advantage of them.
Yeah.
How is there any advice for people who may be feeling desperate that want to ask for something?
Wow. Because sometimes you're desperate, and desperate call for desperate measures. I would say that sometimes when I'm desperate and I desperately need something, even though I know that the person may be taking advantage of me, if I just do it because it's a desperate time. It's a desperate measure. But once it becomes unhealthy, I stop. Once it becomes emotionally unhealthy for me, or financially unhealthy for me, or physically unhealthy for me, that's when I take a walk. Because I know I'm in a desperate time, but once it becomes unhealthy, that's when you need to say no and stand your ground and say, you know what, I don't stand for this. I'm desperate, yes, and I'm willing to do the work because I'm in a desperate situation. But once it becomes unhealthy, I take a walk and look elsewhere. I can't be that desperate. You take a walk and look elsewhere.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
That's a
hard pill to swallow.
Which pill?
To just say I'm desperate and I know this person is, using me, but I'm still gonna go into this.
No, because at that point, remember when you're desperate, you need something, right? So the way to get this thing, you have to weigh yourself. I would weigh myself and say, okay, how badly do I need this? Can I undergo this turbulence for a bit?
For a little bit, yeah.
Put a timeline on this turbulence. What do I need to do to get out of this turbulence? So you set your goals. You say, okay, we're in a turbulence right now. Captain speaking, seatbelt on. You can't move for a little bit. But you have an out. And once it gets too unhealthy, and if you don't have a very concrete plan, you should leave. Whether it's friendship, whether it's business, or anything else. That's what I think.
That's very good advice. That's very good advice.
The easiest person to take advantage of you is your friends and family. Because there's only one time, there's this thing, family over everything.
Blood over everything.
Blood is thicker than water. But after some time, you have to stand your ground and say, you know what? Sometimes blood is thicker than water, yes. But sometimes you also have to say, you know what? Blood is thicker than water, but these are my rules. These are my limits. And
setting those boundaries.
Yes. Because that's what I've seen within people. Like if it's something at work, something that they're not emotionally tied to, they have an out. But if it's something you're emotionally tied to, like your family or your friends, you feel like you don't have an out, but you can't, because it's up to you. Are the one in control. You're the one who sets those boundaries. So yeah.
And it's important to protect yourself as well from family and friends. I think, for so many years, we've endured so much toxicity from, the family structure and friends.
Mhm.
And that comes from lack of boundaries a lot of the times, and lack of having those conversations where you say, this is as far as I can go for you. This is as much as I can do for you.
Yes.
And people expecting you to go with the extra mile
Yeah,
for them just because they're family.
that this doesn't mean I love you any less, but this is
Mm,
it. And you can say it. The person may feel a certain way about it, but it
Mm.
will release you.
It will release you. I love that.
You personally be released. These
And
are my
sometimes it's also what's needed for them to grow that extra layer of tough skin.
yes. Yeah.
Because if you're always doing everything for them, they are not going to find it within themselves to go out there and look for opportunities or look for other ways to do that. They'll always be dependent on who?
On
You.
Yeah. Gotta let them fly.
Bye-bye. So now let's reverse the roles.
Yeah.
Let's assume you are being asked for something.
Yeah.
How do you reject someone?
Mhm.
And I think we can take this in two parts, where it's family and where it's just other people. How
Yeah.
do you reject someone without being, rude or coming off as rude towards them?
Many times, because yes, I that kind of person who likes to help everyone. But
Yes, you seem like the type.
But with time and as you grow older, you realize you can't do everything. You can't be superwoman.
Hmm.
So many times I can say no with a referral. So I say, you know what? I can't help you right now. I don't have the bandwidth or I don't have the knowledge, but I can refer you to so and so or so and so or so and so or so and so. So that makes it a soft no. Like it's a no, but I've given you another avenue you can try. Because right now I don't have maybe the time, or I don't have the knowledge, or I don't have I don't have the bandwidth. So I usually try these days and say no with a referral to somebody else. Help. Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Maybe this was Kiboni's way of saying no to me with the referral. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't say no. Now I'm about to text her and be like, hey, okay. Even if it was a referral, it was a great referral. But I don't think she was saying no. I think she just thought you would be a great addition to the show.
Okay.
So now let's talk a little bit briefly about sugar and space. Tell us a little bit more about what you do. Yeah, what you would do.
It's a foreign language.
Hey, speaking this language. We even laugh in English. Tell us a little bit about, sugar and spice and what you do there.
Yeah.
What's your job, how you feel about being in that space as well.
You know what's funny? I wouldn't be at Sugar and Space doing strategy and partnerships if I wasn't asking questions. Dead on. My friend Shan, the founder of Sugar and Space, he was moving back to India. He already had this blog, Sugar and Space, where he combines food and space. He's passionate about food and he's passionate about architecture. So Sugar and Space. So where
okay.
that's what Sugar and Space started as. So he combined his two passions into one and created Sugar and Space. Yeah. So now we formed it into a food design agency, which focuses on creating multisensory experiences. We also offer training for hospitality schools. And then the fourth arm is the architecture arm, where we design spaces where food is consumed. So I joined Sugar and Space in 2018, 2019, mostly 2019. But I started on by just asking him questions of, okay, how are you going to use sugar and space when you go back home to India? What are you going to do? Why don't we discuss this? So he made me dinner. We took out the drawing board, and I asked him, what's your strategy when you go home? Who are your customers? Who are you targeting? We did the whole business model canvas. Comes from me. He just gave me a call because I'm always asking him questions, and he said, Subi, I need help with brainstorming. And that's how I joined Sugar and Space. And he would always come back and tell me what he has done. Like, oh, Subi, I did this, it worked. I'm like, great, we're winning. And after a certain point, he said, but Subi, why don't you come on and do for us strategy and partnerships? Because you're always connecting me to someone. And you're the one who has really helped me with this strategy. So why don't you come on board? So I said, well, I mean, right now I know enough about food design. I think I would love it. So I came on board, and right now I'm looking for partnership and help with the strategy. So that's what I do there. And that's how I joined.
Oh, wow. I didn't know there was so much you could do with food. The concept is actually amazing. As someone that is into, architecture and interior design, and, obviously we all love to eat.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful thing to combine those two.
Yeah.
I love that. I'd like to be a part of this. I'm speaking on camera. So however many people are watching this, if Subi does not make me a part of one of these experiences, you people have seen it. It's beautiful. Okay. And then, so tell us a little bit. I want to go into your stuff now. Tell us a little bit about Mwaba. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Am I pronouncing it right?
Mwaba. Yeah.
It says it's coming soon. Mara, when is soon? When is soon?
So we've basically been in the beta version of it, We've been doing it softly. We've been consulting with African-based entrepreneurs and helping them prepare for growth and investment, setting up their business profiles, creating for them business plans. I started it with Kiboni because we both realized we were privileged to be in San Francisco, privileged in the Bay Area, which is the hub for innovation, entrepreneurship, and tech. So we do multiple conferences. We've got masters in business in international business, and we have the knowledge, we have the network. And when we thought about our entrepreneurs back home, we're like, how can we get them to experience this? How can we get them to experience what we're experiencing? And we thought about bringing some entrepreneurs here to get the Silicon Valley experience and learn the culture and, get connections, which was what we were doing. But that was not feasible.
Yeah.
There's visa issues. So we said maybe we can transfer what we are getting to them virtually. So transfer business and access to people, basically create access. So we're transferring our network, sharing our network with them, and sharing our business knowledge with them. That way, we are transferring part of what we're experiencing here to them in their businesses. Yeah. So
so what's been? I'm assuming you're working with, you say Africa. So I'm assuming you're working with people from multiple countries within the continent.
Yes.
What have been some of your most, challenging, some are like 2 or 3 of your most challenging issues to work within a space that's so diverse with all the different countries?
I mean, one of the biggest challenges is the culture. People are afraid to do things, are afraid to ask for what they want. Wait, we froze a bit there, but people are afraid to ask for what they want. And so you can talk to an entrepreneur and it will take maybe 3 conversations for them to really open up. Right? So that's a cultural thing. You're supposed to be humble. You're supposed to be, don't pour your problems on other people. But if I'm a consultant, I'm here to help. So the quicker you open up, the better it is for us to get going. But I feel like it takes some sessions before some people open up, and so that's a culture thing. Yeah, and you have to learn how to tackle that. The second thing I want to talk about maybe will be controversial, but
let's go.
Dealing with African male entrepreneurs is also a bit of a challenge sometimes.
Yeah,
because African males don't like to talk about their problems. They want to be. I want to be a man.
Especially when it's towards a female that's asking these questions.
Yeah. I want to be a man. Everything is working perfectly. Everything is going good. Yeah, we have a few problems here and there, but that's fixable. For me, I had to remember that, okay, Subi, remember that you're in a different culture. How do you get an African male to open up? How do you get an African male to trust you with his problems? That was a big challenge for me. I had to go back to African males. We have a mastermind group. We have virtual masterminds every so often as Mwaba, where entrepreneurs we just help ourselves to solve problems. So I asked the African males, like, how can I help you?
Because now it seems to have gone from just being a business thing to a psychological thing.
Yeah.
It goes together in a mindset and a culture. That's the thing. When it comes to business, everything comes to play.
It counts. And so I had to adjust the way I ask a question. Or I had to just change my approach in which I ask the question so that they can give me the answers that I need so I can help them, so that they can feel vulnerable with me so I can help them. And the thing I learned is you just have to earn their trust.
And I know that we have to wrap this up very soon, but my final question to you is, just to close off, what is your why and how are you fulfilling that right now? Because I see that you're doing, your hand is in a lot of pots and you're doing things that you love, but what connects all of these things, and what do you think is the purpose of why you're doing all these things?
Mellow.
You were not ready, were you?
I wasn't ready, but I could say my why, I like doing things that help others and that are innovative. That's what drives me. So as long as we are creating something new, something that can impact or change somebody's life, make somebody think in a different way, I would say that's the root of my why. Change the way of doing things for the better. That's why I'm where I am. And in venture capital right now, it's a learning opportunity for me. I had no idea about finance. I just took 2 modules in business school. What is that? I had no idea how investment works. And I think it's good to always get the bigger picture. You can see how each and every aspect of everything works. And money, the people who provide the money, they are the ones who will actually, drive a business. So if I can understand where they can come from, then I can better help entrepreneurs. I can better help anybody who needs to benefit from this money, So my why is to help people and also to change the way people think about things. Yeah.
I love that. Any last words that you'd like to leave my viewers with?
You are my favorite girl, for sure. And I hope you keep asking questions.
Thank you so much.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, Subi, and thank you to everybody at home for tuning in. It's truly amazing to always be delivering this content and seeking out these amazing speakers such as Subi. And stay tuned, because next week we will have another speaker just as great as Subi. But Subi has set the bar very high, so we will see what happens next week. Until then, everybody, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And remember to ask those questions. Ask for what you want. Yes. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.